Hello again, my friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to your Wednesday Hump Day Match Day preview show. I am in the pajamas, which of course means it's Wednesday, it's a hump day, and we're going to get through it together, my friends, because that's what we do here at Talking Town. The biggest community, the best community on the planet, universe, galaxy. Take it from there, you know the rest. Just a fantastic week, really, of fundraising efforts. I can see in the chat, AD Croucher, for example, the Stone Market legend, how is the tracksuit collection coming along? Many more also asking. We currently stand at a whopping, a giant £1,200. Phenomenal, considering where it started from, and which was probably Sunday night, Monday morning, Monday night, one of the two. The weeks start to merge, the days start to merge even faster. But just a phenomenal effort on every single one of your parts, and thank you ever so much for doing what you do. Lots of chat in the live chat about the new shirts, which of course we will get to. Ipswich Town, well, not Ipswich Town. Ed Sheeran, you might know him, singer, got a few hits. Perhaps you don't. I don't know. Leaking the third strip on some probably social media device that he owns. I do not know where it was, but he leaked it all the same. And since then, it has gone absolutely mental. With anybody and everybody, it's seemingly wanting to get their hands on this third strip. Over 3,000 queues sold, records being broken. John B queued for half an hour. So we'll no doubt mention what we think of that third kit. First of all, we do have a prediction league, as always, running again this year. It's quite simple. It needs your name, your email, and then it's got 4 wonderful games of football for you to predict on. I have, of course, gone for Sunderland 402, Norwich 0, and I expect everybody else to also go for a Sunderland whopping win. Because if you don't, I am trying to get Matt Stannard to deduct points, just to let you know. Hopefully, I've got the right link in the chat. It's one directly from my browser, so you know, God knows where you might end up. Let's get a few comments. Jason Steele, the way things are going, so much time before we change our name to Ed Sheeran Football Club. Cruncher, did Ed get a phone call from? No idea. No idea. No, I don't think he probably. I don't know. No. Lee Brown, good evening, Mike D. I've really got to start reading these comments before they come on the screen, haven't I? That's one of my big things. Also, don't forget our Fantasy Premier League football division table thing. I don't know. I've already lost my login details. That's a true story. I've already forgotten my password. So I'm locked out. I'm stuck with what I've got. And it's not Haaland up front. So don't expect to see me in and among the prizes. Let's go ahead and bring in a contributor to help me get some prizes distributed to you two. Let's go and bring in the man, the myth, the one, the only Lionel Von Rock, Alex Wilson.
You're not going to play amazing football every game.
Not going to play amazing football every game. Alex, how wrong have you been so far inside 5 games? We have played amazing in every single one of them.
Yeah, and the one we played most amazing, I was away, so I was having to watch it through dodgy Wi-Fi in a pub in the Midlands. So, yeah, I'm hoping that we get a repeat. But no, you couldn't have asked for a much better start, could you? Really, you know?
No.
But feet on the ground, people. Feet on the ground. Let's not. I remember the first season that we came down to this wonderful league. We were sort of 27 points, and we were going to rocket, and then the wheels fell off. So
surely you've got a lot more faith in this manager than the previous one.
Absolutely. I totally. You know, I said on Monday that it's so nice to be the club that people are saying, yeah, they're too good for us. Because how many times over the last 13 years did we play that, and whoever was manager at the time came out to too good. But it'll be nice. I think I'm looking forward to Saturday, because it's going to be nice to potentially put ourselves against one of one of our competitors in the league, shall we say, even though they've not had the best start. So it'll be
Absolutely.
a yardstick, I think.
Yeah, obviously they play tonight. They're playing Leeds, and as Rob Smith says, they're only making 4 outfield changes. Hopefully they get the run around by Leeds, losing 2-0 already. We have got a Barnsley fan joining us live on the show to give us the lowdown. He comes from one of Lewis's favourite podcasts, so I'm sure Lewis will have a few moments where he is just staring into the camera, full of love and admiration. Something he enjoys. Talking about something we enjoy giving away prizes here at Talking Town. But we're struggling a little bit. First of all, obviously, Alex, you were on Monday's show. We're now at £1,200. Just a phenomenal effort.
Phenomenal. And, you know, as someone that is really passionate about that sort of thing, thank you to, you know, everyone that has been a part of that, whether it be, you know, whatever the amount was, you know, we're in a cost of living crisis right now, and it's phenomenal to raise that amount of money in, you know, 2 days at the best of times, let alone with things going on now. So again, huge shout out to Crunch for just doing what Crunch does. You know, well done, mate. That was, you know, you deserve a huge amount of credit for that.
Absolutely,
and just
he does.
Everyone that shared it, you know, whatever you've done to make that cause worthwhile, you know. You're an amazing community. I'm very, very proud to be part of it.
Absolutely. And Barnsley have put a goal back on the leagues. That's good for us, really, because, you know, I didn't go straight to a penalty shootout. So let's keep working hard, Barnsley. Bless you. For those maybe getting excited at hearing a lot of pings, my phone is going off. It's red hot, but sadly, it's not transfer related. ITK pings. It's just nonsense. People sending me nonsense. I'm just getting a ping. It does my head in, Alex. So that's why I'm on silent most of the time. I hate it. I hate the pings you get from your phone, don't you?
Yeah.
Don't stop.
I have to admit the Talking Town Discord is on.
It goes wild. It goes wild.
It's on no notifications, unfortunately, because otherwise I was sat at my desk at work the day after we launched it, and it was constant. So
I love how George gets offended because he thinks it's. I'm not talking about you, George. I was talking about the 4 texts I just received from various companies telling me if I order something, buy one get one free. You know the ones you order once and then they never ever leave you alone. Talking about not leaving things alone, we can't give away shirts here at Talking Town. The 2 shirts we are giving away have yet to be claimed, so we are doing it once again. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. You could now win a, you know, Ipswich Town 3rd strip. It's gone that long. Trevor Howe, you are our first winner of an ITFC 2022-23 shirt. Congratulations, sir. May you please be somebody that comes forward to claim the prize. It would be incredibly grateful because I don't want to be sat here when Rakeem Harper's Ipswich Town's Player of the Year in the Premier League giving away the same shirt. So can we just claim it, Trevor, please? And our second winner is, or will be, can't be me, sadly. So I'm not going to win the 3rd shirt, but there we go. Matthew Plum. Trevor Howe and Matthew Plum, congratulations. You are our 2 shirt winners. Question to you, Ash, before I bring Lewis in to do the ticket giveaway is, do you think they're actually going to come forward?
No. No. And if they don't, I'm very much in your camp. I'll quite happily claim a 3rd shirt.
It's like you can't give stuff away these days. It's like, come on, people. It's like, anyway, Gary Denny, League One is tough.
Guys, it's an amazing, you know, the guys that put the shirts forward. Again, it's amazing. So if you're out there, if anyone in the chat knows either of those 2 people, please let them know, and please let's have this giveaway be what it was intended to be.
Trevor Howe, you are a winner. Gov loves a voice note. No, Gov hates voice notes. They annoy me. If I wanted to speak to you, I'd speak to you on the telephone. Mike D, got to be silent all the way. Cruncher, the club needs to start giving this platform more access. Absolutely, Cruncher, it certainly does. I'm not going to deny, argue, or offer a counterpoint to that one. Gary Denny, League One is tough. Lots of clubs trying to restore their former greatness. Others looking for glory. It's been a hard lesson for ITFC. We're finally going in the right direction. yeah, we are going in the right direction. Let's go ahead and bring in Lewis here, because that's an even better direction. Lewis Rapstar Robertson.
That'll be without.
Here he is, Mr. Technical Difficulties. How you doing?
Not bad. How you doing?
Good, man. We can hear you. We can see you. It's better than some weeks. Alex said feet on the ground. Are you still feet on the ground? Are you heading the clouds?
Somewhere in between. It's a great start, and you know, we've touched so many times on the difficulties of life and everything that everyone has to deal with. You know, and football's a great outlet, and why shouldn't we enjoy it? And that's what it is. I'm actually finding I'm enjoying going to games. I'm enjoying watching us play. I'm enjoying coming together with other supporters, obviously through the platform and in general.
Yeah.
I completely get what Kieran McKenna said after the Shrewsbury game at the weekend about, you know, one game at a time. But he's the manager of the club and he's got to work with those players. He's got to get them up for the next game. As supporters, why can we not enjoy it? I know it's early days, but just the whole environment, the whole atmosphere, you know, everything's buzzing. I was at Burton last week. It was at MK Don's home game. I wasn't at Shrewsbury. But the atmosphere is fantastic. And why shouldn't we enjoy it? You know, there's a difference between us as town fans coming together and going, do you know what? That was a really good performance. That was a really hard-fought win. And going on social media and kind of saying mind the gap and whatever else to other supporters. Yeah. You're setting yourself up for a fall. So I'm very much looking up, looking forward to Saturday, and long may it continue. And I appreciate we've been burnt in the past, but it's a new club. It's a new Ipswich Town. We're under a new leadership in Kieran McKenna, and they're not going to be getting carried away. But I think we can enjoy it.
Which is exactly what I said on Monday. You know, I'm not in the dressing room. I'm not on the pitch. I'm not in the meeting rooms. Yeah, let's enjoy it, embrace it, love it. Of course, you know, don't go over the top with it and things like that. But you certainly got to look forward to it. We now do also have a ticket draw for this weekend's Barnsley game. We have got 28 people in the draw. I've just put 128 in this one. I've got the names separate, which I can show a picture on social media should I so wish to, or should so need to. But here is your winners for ITFC versus Barnsley. Can I have a number, please, Alex? What was that number say? I'm looking at the list on a different screen.
That's 25.
25?
Yep.
Mark Stewart, you have won the tickets. Congratulations, Mark Stewart. Right, prize giveaway is done. Hopefully the shirt giveaway will come forward, because I don't know about YouTube. The worst thing about events are raffles. And I always feel like I'm in a raffle when I'm doing this. And I'm like, get on with it. Get on with it. I hate raffles, Lewis, don't you?
Yes, that whole thing, especially if you organise one where you're trying to chase down someone that's in the car park about to leave, and you want a prize. You want a, I don't know, fondue.
L'Oreal shampoo conditioner set.
Yeah.
That's exactly the sort of thing. I'm a budget guard breed, and budget clubs, we always have to have a raffle. I'm always like, just park it in the bin, mate. I'll give you the pound. Just leave me out of the draw. But congratulations to those people, and congratulations also to Rakeem Harper on his move to Exeter. I don't know what to say here. I don't know if I've got a curse on a player if I say they're player of the year, because Big Fred's not exactly hit the ground running yet. Alex, Rakeem the Dream is left Portman Road. He's now the Exeter's Dream. First of all, is there a way back for Rakeem, or is this a loan where the door is sort of, you know, it's not shut, but it's only slightly ajar?
It's a hard one, isn't it? You know, because obviously Kieran McKenna came out and said what he said, that he'd come back with an increased level of maturity and was looking better this pre-season. But I think if he goes and does well and gets a run of games, and, you know, there might be a way back. But then part of me says, with where we're going, if he's not good enough for our League One side, is he going to be good enough for our Championship side? But then he's not going to. I don't see him getting game time here, other than in the Papa John's. So, you know, if it's a season thing. If it's a season so we can go and get game time at Exeter, I'm all for it. Possibly whether there's a caveat in there that we can bring it if he does do well. Maybe bring him back if in January potentially if we need him. But at that age, he's not going to progress by sitting on our bench, or not even making our bench. So if he can go to Exeter and get that game time he needs and improve, then it's worth a shot for me.
Yeah, absolutely worth a shot. Lewis, Alex said there, if by January you need to bring him back, you can do. You've left yourself a little bit short here, Lewis. You've now got Sam Morsey, Lee Evans, an injured, but yet we don't know if he's on the grass yet or not. Don Ball, and then no disrespect, it's a huge drop off from those three to a Master Humphreys to a. Well, that's it.
Yeah, I think this is a sign that we will make another signing in central midfield for that very reason. We have got a really strong two so far because we haven't seen Ball. Evans, I always like Lee Evans. I know a lot of people on the platform haven't always been his biggest fan. I spoke to him at the end of last season about his injuries. I know how frustrated he was. So it's really nice to see him come back. And I think easy to forget that our best spell under McKenna, second half of last season, was when Evans and Morsey were playing together. And they've hit the ground running this year. I was really excited by the signing of Dominic Ball. I think he's got something to add, and I think he will. We obviously need to get him fit and need to get him game time. Hopefully he can play against Northampton next week. But I think, like you say, after that, we'd then be dependent on Cameron Humphreys, who's got a lot of potential, but it is just potential. And I don't think we can necessarily just rely on potential at this stage with what we're looking to achieve. So for me, I'll be looking to sign another central midfielder. If I had to name someone, and I know people will say, well, you're not going to get him to come and sit on the bench, but it's not about sitting on the bench. It's about competition. I'd be looking at Camera from Plymouth. He was made available because he couldn't agree a contract at the beginning of the summer. Really surprised no one's come in for him yet. And competition for places gets the best out of people. By bringing him in, that might see Sam Morsey up his game even more if that's possible. So I'd be aiming high. I'd be looking at players that can potentially do it in Championship. But I agree. I think we need another central midfielder in there to make it an experienced four.
Going to need it because you've got a great comment here from Philip Blundell about Ball being back on the grass, which is why they've allowed the Harper loan potentially. But putting the faith in a Dominic Ball, Lewis, where he is yet to play, yet to complete in 90 minutes. With the window that's closing in a week's time, I would feel more confident with another body in the door. Just as simple as that. Lewis, is he there? Is he there?
I'm here.
He's there. He's there. Congratulations. I asked the question. Doesn't matter. We'll move it on because Corey and Darber also went out on loan this week, and I want to talk about a pathway to the first team. Is there one? Is it important there is one, or is it more of a fan-held love affair with football that really, at this stage of League One and higher, is a little bit it's not important? Because Lewis, again, I'll start with yourself, being a coach, not mentioning badges though. Is the pathway important?
Pathway is important, but we've got to select the best players for Ipswich Town to get where we want to this year. We're in League One for the fourth year running. McKenna said he'd given Darber an opportunity. He had that during pre-season. I only saw bits and pieces of pre-season. He struggled. He struggled against West Ham when I went to that game. I'm not basing anything solely off my one viewing of him. But McKenna's clearly identified that possibly he's not quite ready to be challenging at the top of League One. The move to Burton is a step up from Salford in League Two. He clearly did well at Salford. But what Darber needs to go and do, he needs to go and be Burton's best player week in, week out, and really make a statement rather than kind of a peripheral figure. In the same way as John Jules come to us from Arsenal to play games and to show what he can do, which is what he did on Saturday. You know, in the same way as Arsenal would view that as a good loan move for him to a League One team where he needs to establish himself, we should be expecting Ndaba not to go there and get minutes off the bench, but be one of the main men to show that he can cut it at League One with a view to potentially developing into hopefully a Championship player.
It's a fair point, Alex, really. I mean, but then the other side of the coin, people will tell you, you know, Ndaba's League Two Player of the Year. How many minutes do you anticipate Richard Keogh getting? Can Corey Ndaba not cover those minutes? And likewise with Humphreys. What's the expectation here? Like, if all things go well and Morsey only has 1 or 2 games suspended, because he will, that's just a fact of life of being Sam Morsey. That's your type of game. Don Ball's back full, fully fit, doesn't miss much, if any more, game time. Shouldn't Humphreys be that 20 minutes here, 2 or 3 games a year, man? Isn't that the pathway of stepping in, or is it actually the fans' love affair where it's a business? You have to be good enough first and foremost, forgetting where you come from, the academy, wherever, the price fee. Don't forget, Raheem Harper arrived from West Brom for a fee, and this club not so long ago wasn't paying fees at all. Is it more important about the ability than it is the pathway, and the pathway is more of a fan-held love affair?
I think any club wants to see their own players that they've developed, you know, have that pathway into the first team. But I also think at this particular point in time, you know, all that matters is getting out of this league. And I
agree with that.
I think, you know, if you ask, for me, it doesn't matter where the players come from, whether we bring them in or whether they come through our youth system to, you know, to get the main thing, getting out of this league. You know, I think maybe the youth setup is something that needs looking at, because I do think that certain or town fans hold their own players, you know, with blue tinted glasses on, shall we say. I think all you've got to do is look at the fact, and I know I'm going to get slated for this, but Armando Dobra and Bailey Clements are down in the National League with Paul Cook. You know, I think taking the fact that you know, they are our youth team players, you know, I think if they were of a standard where they could help us, they would either be here or someone higher than Chesterfield would have come in for them, you know. So for me, yes, of course, I'd like to see the pathway. I'd like to see our own players get through, but for the next few years, it's got to be hopefully getting out of this league, and establishing ourselves in the Championship. And for me, I don't really care whether that's through developing players that come in through our first team, you know, for our youth system, or they're players that we bring in and we use the Brentford model. Because at the end of the day, I care more about where the club's going rather than who gets us there.
Great point. And Burton Lewis will be a great test for Corey Ndaba, because they're already right up against it.
Yeah, definitely. But you know, it's over to Corey now, isn't it? He knows he's going to be there for the next 6-7 months. He did it at Salford. He's got to work his way into that team. Now, ultimately, they've had a really bad start. They've shipped goals, except for when they played us. They were quite organised, I thought, when they played us. But he's got to work his way into that team. And as I say, he's got to really grab the opportunity. I have no problem with us sending our younger players out. If you look at Ndaba, if he'd stuck around, he probably would have played less than 5 league games, probably, and they would have been off the bench. He would have played cup games. He probably would have amassed total of especially our record in the cups, 8-9 games in the season, whereas he's got an opportunity here to go and play 30, 35, 40 games. At the same league as us, I think obviously different ambitions to where we hope to be comparing to Burton. I have no problem with sending players out on loan. I think where I do struggle at times, although to be fair, we haven't done it this summer, is when we have I mean, the obvious one's Louis Barry. We went and signed a young player from the Premier League who had not been out on loan before, and we were expecting him to come straight into the team or be around the team to get us promoted. And he just wasn't ready for League One football. That's not to say he's not a good player, Louis Barry, but he wasn't ready at that stage.
But he wasn't on Saturday last time.
No, he got played out of position slightly. But you know, that's blocking the pathway. Whereas what we've seen from John Jules is that he's been out on loan previously. He's been out on loan to League One clubs. Yes, he got injured at Sheffield Wednesday, but he's already shown that he can make an impact at this level. So, like I say, I think at the moment, particularly this year, it's all about signing players that have some degree of pedigree. I keep seeing people linking us to like Manchester United youngsters who, Charlie Savage, Robbie Savage's son, he's not been out on loan, I don't believe, before. He's not done it in the EFL. So why, for a team that are looking for automatic promotion, would we try and blood in a youngster into first-team football? Because first-team football at League One is very different to under-23s football. Even at Manchester United, you're not going to get as much time on the ball. There's going to be a crowd. There's going to be a difficult atmosphere. Look at, Burton the other night. We had to dig in at times. I would rather us play established players that we have, or if we're going to make loan signings, they're loan signings with pedigree. That's where I have an issue, but thankfully we haven't gone down that route so far.
I think the Charlie Savage link, if there is one, is a bit lazy, because obviously he was here on their work experience scheme that they like to do at the end of the season. That's where I think that sort of laziness. Well, he was here. They know a little bit about him. That might be the connecting the dots up. But
and I use him as an example.
But I think it's a great example, because people will say that, and people will do those type of mental gymnastics where they're trying to link players from different directions. Oh, well, he was here for 10 minutes, had a cup of coffee, so that's the link they need in midfield, and it might well end up being this is played back in 2 days' time on a Savage transfer show. We don't know, but what we do know is that Corey and Darber, to round off that point, statistically will now be in the exact same category as Luke Wolfenden, George Edmondson and co. Last year he was League Two. This year now he is League One. If I was McKenna, if I was Andy Rolls, if I was whoever, I think Probert, I think it's the name, Lee Probert, is it? I think the name was, or Gary Probert, who was in charge of our player development. My words to him, Alex, quite simply, as we round up, you're in the same statistical league as your fellow defenders. Go and prove you're on a better par. You're on a level with them. Playing in a lesser side, you're still statistically good in the air, good on the floor. All of these different things, which which is what modern football's about, amassing the data.
Yeah, I think they obviously see something in him, because they've given him another
3 years,
given him another contract. So it is about going out and proving himself. The only slight concern I have is that obviously he's coming under Jimmy Floyd. Let's not split hairs that Jimmy Floyd's not under pressure.
No. Sorry, that eye roll wasn't for you. It's for the fact I just saw redraw the tickets in the chat. So it wasn't for you. That wasn't what you were saying there, Drew, the massive eye roll from me. Sorry.
So that if Jimmy Floyd, if Jimmy goes,
and
whoever comes in, and they don't see Ndaba in the same vein that,
it's true.
Is that gonna end up being a hindrance? But then I suppose what you, to flip it on its head, it's down to Ndaba to go in there and prove whoever's in charge that one of those starting centre back spots is his.
Yeah. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. How do you make the news today about Raheem Harper, about Corey Ndaba? That's how I did it. So there we go. We didn't even mention Raheem Harper. What a shame that is. What a crying shame. I couldn't lay my prediction on the line to see how wrong it was. Another player moving on before we move on to Barnsley. Not yet I've seen it confirmed anywhere, but it's certainly heavily linked. Huddersfield, Tyree Simpson, £500,000 with about 100 million sell-on clauses. If he does this, if he goes to Tesco's in Huddersfield, if he goes to Sainsbury, whatever the statistical escalators are going to be, we obviously don't know. good deal for the football club on what you've heard, what you've seen, Lewis. Sad to see a player, depart and not have the chance. Where are you on the Tyree Simpson sort of situation?
Probably the same as everyone else. It is sad that we never saw the best of him. I mean, he played under Lambert a couple of games, but he was raw. Looks a bit like Bambi on ice. But he clearly went away and got a lot of benefit from being on loan in League Two at Swindon. I think probably both sides, Simpson's side and the club, will maybe regret decisions or things that maybe have been said. We don't know the ins and outs, and it's not our place to know. But to get £500,000 plus potentially add-ons for someone who has done nothing at first team level for us and has had half a season performing at League Two, I think it's good business. And certainly when it looked like he was off at the beginning of the summer, I didn't imagine we'd be getting £500,000 for that player, plus potentially rising. So I see it as a good deal. It's a shame. He'll move on, but no one's bigger than the club, and we're not going to be taken for mugs anymore. And I support that. It's nothing personal against Tyrese. Wish him well. Best of luck to him. I kind of feel similarly to the Liam Gibbs situation, who we're obviously now seeing performing at Norwich. Probably regret on both sides, but we move on as a club, and we've got to keep looking upwards. And it's a good opportunity for Tyrese, but
it's a hell of an opportunity.
He's got to grab it and he's got to perform, because otherwise he could find himself at a lower level than Ipswich in the next year or so.
It's a hell of an opportunity. And Philip Blundell, 500k for Simpson is a good bit of business from League One and a good sell-on clause, perhaps a buyback clause. I'm not so sure on the buyback clause. Not sure that the current brain trust and the player seemingly are on the same page for that.
The drawbridge has been risen. He won't be coming back.
I think it got risen, and then Dracarys was shouted by somebody, and the fucking thing went up in flames. Let's be honest. Oh, by the way, House of Dragon, I don't take things by halves. Look what I got today. Bish bash bosh. Only the actual book itself. So I'm going to plough myself through the next couple of weeks. I don't do nothing by halves here, ladies and gentlemen, be it media platforms or be it watching Game of Thrones. I take my stuff seriously. I didn't realise it was going to be that big, though. You can use that wherever you like. Clip it up. Callie Bisler. Callie thinks Leeds are in for Tyree Simpson, which, is interesting. Saj, shame Simpson couldn't get to the first team. Obviously doesn't want to be here. Stephen Pray, what are the reasons? Callie, not my issue. Good luck to him. Because Callie says, put it this way, it's the potential to cover both harness and leave transfer deals with add-ons and top-ups, which would be let's just take ITK Callie for a moment. And I am trialing emojis in the chat for the first time tonight to see how they go. If it's well received, if it's liked, we'll create some emojis for the chat to be used. All we need to do is use colon ITK, and then something should pop up which you can click, and that will come in the chat. Or you can use colon gov, and I'm almost crying, or sad, I think it is, which is obviously the Rakeem Harper news. That's what I was really sad at. But Kelly says this, Alex, put it this way, has the potential to cover both harness and leave transfer deals with add-ons and top-ups. If that's the case, that's not only good business, that's astronomically brilliant business.
Yeah, it is. And for me, under again, it just proves what a regime we're under now. Because back in the day, you only got to look at the Jordan Rhodes situation when he went. If Tyreek doesn't want to be here, if we can get the money to put our club in a financially better position, so it helps us in the longer term, then I'm all for it. And if it covers, certain fees that we've spent, which means that we're now balanced to potentially go out and get something else in January if we need it, then I'm all for it. But again, it just proves that this ownership are organised. They know what they're doing. They've got a shrewd operator at the top.
It's true. Very true.
But I think people need to remember this and remember exactly what you've said, Alex, because if we end up getting all those top-ups, that's only because Tyree Simpson would have scored a lot of goals and Huddersfield would have done very well. and it will be easy for people to forget all of this and revert back to, well, we should have kept him because he's playing in the Premier League and he scored 20 goals to get him promoted. So we have to take it from both sides. If we're going to get the add-ons, that means Tyree Simpson has performed well, because if he flops, we're not going to be getting anything other than
$500,000.
The initial fee, which I still think is good business.
Yeah,
but I don't think we can lose sight of that, and I that's just more a warning to people generally than
and I think
more than that.
You've only got to look at the few bits that Tyrese has put up on, Twitter about, I've not been on the grass since April. Well, Tyrese, if your attitude was better and you were better advised by your agent, you might have been.
Well, we don't know the situation there. That's the issue. We don't know, as Lewis was saying, the drawbridge being pulled up, what the communication's been, what anything has been. And, so what we do anticipate is him moving on for $500,000. I want to move it on very quickly towards the Barnsley situation, primarily just because obviously Barnsley are on the horizon and it's going to be a good chance to play aside people expected to be there or thereabouts. But before we do, if Simpson, well, regardless if Simpson leaves or not, because he's not a player the club obviously count upon, 7 days or so to go to the window closing. Any nerves creeping in as you wake up every day and no news or no rumour or no smoke or nothing, just silence, dead wall silence? Anybody getting a little bit twitchy?
It's a hard one, isn't it? Because I don't think anyone would begrudge, like we've said, of possibly another attacking player coming in or another central midfielder. But you've got again going back to the regime. Who knew? No one knew that Marcus Harness was coming in.
No,
until 11 o'clock on a Friday night when Marcus Harness came in.
True.
We're not in the days now whereby we'd get linked with XYZ and have managers coming out and going, well, he's not our player yet, so we're not going to comment. So yes, I am slightly worried that it seems to have gone it's sort of half of one, half of the other. It does worry me that we possibly need a couple more, but it wouldn't surprise me if the first we hear of said signing is when they're being unveiled, when that video pops up on Twitter.
Lewis, what do you think?
I agree. I've got full confidence in the club, in Kieran McKenna, in Mark Ashton. For all we know, wake up tomorrow morning, could be links, and by lunchtime someone's signed and it's announced tomorrow evening. I'm not concerned. I'll be concerned if we get to 2nd of September and we don't have another forward in the building, and also now potentially another centre midfielder for the reasons we discussed. But no, I'm not panicking, and I don't think anybody else should yet. We've got no reason to panic. We're in a fairly strong, healthy position, and I think we'll be quite decisive in who we want. A couple of names floated around. I saw we were potentially linked, amongst others, with Scully from Lincoln. Always thought he was quite a good player. A couple of other bits and pieces. So, but there
Bradley Dack says ITK Crunch with 12% success rate.
I'm not claiming anything at all, but I suggested Bradley Dack a couple of weeks ago.
Listen to it. I'm not suggesting anything, but I said Bradley Dack 4 years ago.
Alongside Marcus Harness and Dominic Ball.
To be fair, I actually did say Bradley Dack in a transfer window where Mick was in charge, and I was like, I think it was at Gillingham at the time.
He was at Gillingham and tearing it up, and that was a typical kind of player that we could have pushed
literally
the boat
down the road.
Yeah. And we could have signed him for less than $1 million and probably sold him on for 4 or 5.
Yeah.
But that was Evans, and we never operated like that. He's had injuries. He's not getting minutes at Blackburn. They've signed Smodics. I'd have Bradley Dack if they're satisfied his fitness is okay. He would score goals at this level. But so there are a few names, but I'm not worried. I'm fully confident we'll have a couple more before the end of the window. Unfortunately, that'll probably mean a couple more will move out, including Matt Penny. But there we go.
George is not remotely twitchy, but we're light through the middle. This is the squad for the rest of the season. Philip Blundell, Norwood subbed off after 63 minutes. Scully should go sign for the team. Scully and Mulder. I like it. Paul Harper, not concerned. 10 goals in 5, and Ladapo yet to chip in. We have goals all over the pitch. Philip doesn't think we're light through the centre. We've got 3 really good players. Yeah, we've got 3 really good players. Philip, just one of them ain't got one of them's got both ankles yet. Like literally, we haven't seen him play. We don't know the status of him. There's something else to there.
We got to remember we're playing Accrington in a couple of weeks. Andy Holt will definitely be trying to get Morsey suspended, so we've got to accommodate for that.
It's true.
Yeah,
it's true.
On the transfer front, guys, you've got to remember, last year, Morsey came out very late. Then they were saying he wasn't coming, and then lo and behold, he was here. So, you've only got to look at how this club, look at that, how this club operates. So
Matt Crook says hi. So is Sonny Bradley. There's always a yin to a yang, Alex. I get what you're saying. I'm just impatient. I'm in the 2020. I'm in 2022 where I want everything yesterday.
You want that content, don't you, Gav?
Yeah, the content would be nice. Although we've had sort of 12,000 views this week, which all of the last 7-10 days, which isn't too bad. But a couple more won't go miss. Right, on to Barnsley. Before we do, because something very, very important, I just wanted to put a natural sort of buffer in between that chat and this chat, and so a quick word from
Ipswich Buses, your local bus company. Don't get stuck in traffic. Ditch the car. Go green. Go contactless. Go Ipswich Buses. Fares available from £2.20 return, a fantastic price and a fantastic service. Ipswich Buses, proud to partner with Talking Town.
Now, but obviously Barnsley up next this weekend. Aside, is it fair to say you both expected to be, there or thereabouts come May?
I thought just outside playoffs. They've lost players having gone down, lost Carlton Morris and Woodrow, who we were linked with to Luton. Mm-hmm. A bit of a transition season, isn't it, with Duff coming in as manager? So, yeah, I kind of thought around 8th or 9th for Barnsley, and nothing, going by the results and things, I think they will improve, but nothing's convinced me that they're going to be much higher than that so far.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Trying to find their latest. It's currently 3-1 to Leeds. Leeds 3, Barnsley 1. We've got Josh joining us from the Barnsley side. Josh, this is a great thing for us because we saw you make 4 changes for tonight, and you're being run over the park. We're thinking Saturday's going to be quite decent, right?
Oh yeah, I mean the 4 changes we've made, we've just literally, I think in the last 2 minutes, brought on like the first team players that have been resting as well. So we've just made the 3 subs. So them 3 players who you'd imagine will be starting now getting 20-25 minutes against Leeds, and seems like doing a lot of running because we don't have much at ball tonight.
Which is music to every Town fans' ears. It's not been a great start, obviously, for yourselves so far at League One. I think that's very fair to say. I asked the 2 lads there, but what were your expectations coming into the season?
I think at first, obviously, we knew that we're coming in with a caveat of this was going to be a transition season. We had everything behind the scenes of Conway leaving Chenley, and we've got this new board coming in. So we knew it would be a transition. The board came out immediately and said that we need to bridge a £7-8 million gap in TV revenue, and the warns us fans that this will come through player sales, and obviously that means the better players are going. I've just seen you mentioned 2 of them, Morris and Woodrow, 2 which I think bridged roughly about 3 million between them. And then since we've had Britton go as well at right wing back, and the 2 which are sort of the stumbling blocks to actually allow us to start this big rebuild is Hellick and Styles, who are both still here, and they're the other 2 which I think will command a decent fee. So I think it's once they've gone we can actually begin this rebuild, because at the minute we're having to do it sort of as cheap as we possibly can. Like everyone that's come in so far has either been loan players and free transfers, and it's been difficult to really. There's not really been a marquee signing. Probably the biggest name we've signed is James Norwood, and
sorry,
exactly. That's been the biggest signing we've made so far. So it's been a lot
that can't haunt me. For fuck's sake.
It's a lot of young players that they're improving at this level, and it's exciting in a way that we're going to see if they're any good enough or not, and if we've actually found a gem. But at the same time, there's no one that we've really got excited about coming in. So it's a massive transition, and I've seen your predictions were just outside the playoffs. I think that'll be a good season, because for me, mid-table at best at the minute.
How has Norwood settled into life at Oakwell?
He's been in and out of the side, to be honest. You can see what he brings in terms of that sort of. He's got the edge to his game where I'm always nervous that he might do something to get sent off. There's always that thing where I feel if he's going to
walks the line.
He's going to leave an elbow in on someone, and you just, like, every time there's a 50-50, I'm wincing because I feel like he's going to leave one in. But it's been all right so far. I think Michael Duff wants to play a very high press, and I don't think that's his game at all. From the first couple of games I've seen of him, that doesn't seem to be his game at all. And he came on for last 10-15 minutes against Wickham, and you could see it was visible, like, sort of not visibly frustrated, but like just it got that edge of like, we're leaving one in on their centre half at 3-0 down. It's just, there's no need at 3-0. We're not going to get anything from it. So it was just weird.
Yeah, disappointing result that, obviously, because Wickham hadn't exactly set the world alight themselves coming into the fixture. We've got a question here from Mike D. Have you replaced Britton, Josh?
No, we've not replaced him. We've still got Jordan Williams in, who's been there for the last 2-3 years, but he's been out the side. He's been unfortunate with injuries, because every time he's had a good run in the side, he's ended up being injured, which obviously Callum Britton were much more robust in that sense. They never really picked up an injury, but he didn't have the greatest of seasons last year, and he definitely weren't helped by the style, because obviously when we had the season where we finished 5th, Britton was integral to that 5 at the back system, and Valerian Ismail just gave him a license to bomb on as far forward as possible, whereas last year we switched back to a back 4, and he got much more defensive responsibility, which didn't let him get into that final third as often, and we were really missing that to sort of stretch teams in a way that we'd not got that overload out on the wide right. And every time he did get an opportunity, there were no final products there. There were nothing to aim for in the middle, as well as the season before. He could just aim to DK, and it'd be golden, because he was such a powerhouse when he first signed. He was massive for us. So I think we definitely see the best of him last season, and I think you can see now that at Blackburn he's doing well, and he probably is a Championship quality player. And it'd been nice to keep hold of him, because I think in pre-season, Michael Duff started him. He took the captaincy for the first couple of pre-season games as well. So there's sort of that era of he might be someone trying to build his side around, and then 2 weeks later he'd gone to Blackburn. So apparently not.
Any questions from you two boys? What, you're sitting there? I know Lucy's a big fan of your podcast, Josh.
Yeah, I started listening to your pod after we signed Connor Chaplin. I wanted to get kind of the Barnsley perspective, and then I found myself I tune in quite regularly. So this is quite a moment for me. And I was going to ask about there's a player for you. I think he's been playing in the number 10 role behind the two, Luke Thomas. We had him on loan a couple of years ago now, under Paul Lambert, and I think there were some issues off the field, and he didn't really do much. But I know he took a bit of a break from the game, and he came back in, and I think he scored. Didn't he? Did he score in one of your opening games?
Yeah, so he scored the winner against Cheltenham. I
just wondered in general how he settled back in, because that's quite a lot for someone to take a step back from football, obviously concentrate on their mental health, which is great to see him back. How's he been in general? Is he likely to play on Saturday?
Yeah, he's come back really well, to be honest, because I think during the window there was rumours of him going back to Bristol Rovers on loan, where he spent last season. But it seems like he's got his head down and sort of forced his way into Michael Duff's thinking. And in that number 10 role, he's been brilliant, because he's been able to pick up the ball quite, like just dropping into like holes and just finding a bit of space and picking up and driving at team's defence. And that's something we've not had for ages. He's someone that picks up the ball and actually drives with some commitment, and he's been drawing fouls, free kicks. I think that one thing that sort of allowed him the goal against Cheltenham in a way that it got 3 or 4 players on a booking just on his own. So he sort of bought that space, and that no one could commit to him when he finally shot. So it's been quite a revelation, because when he first came 2-3 years ago, he scored in his debut against Fulham, which I think was only win for 17 games at the time. So another strong season for us. But as soon as he scored that, we thought, we've got a player here. But he went a little bit quiet from then, and then the season after and went. No, he stayed up that season. He just got loaned out and sort of fell out of favour. But as you say, he's had that step back and he seems to have come back with a great attitude. And he's probably the one player so far this season that's really stood out as someone that we could maybe build a team around, or he's sort of the go-to man at the minute if we need anything creative wise. He's the man we're going to at the minute.
So is he a key man? Would you say is he the key man?
Definitely so far this season, because he's been the one that's been providing and also scoring in a way. Like, he's picked up the ball in sort of half spaces between the midfield and defence, and if he's allowed that time to turn, he's either buying a free. He very rarely loses the ball in terms of he's either buying a free kick and we're keeping possession, or he's going to create something and we'll either get a corner or he lays it off for somebody. He drags us up the pitch once it gets into him, and instead of trying to score that perfectly. Because I think we're trying too much a minute, trying to score that perfect goal that's got 25 passes when no one's intercepted it, and it's not working for us. Whereas when we move away from that and then he turns and drives at somebody, it's completely different in that it brings a completely different dynamic into it. And it speeds up the game instead of being that lethargic 5 or 6 passes across the back four. As soon as he picks it up and then turns and drives, suddenly everyone else is coming forward with him, and he really is a key man so far.
What about Nicky Cadden? Because he a number of Town fans on here, we were crying out for a new left wing back, or we ended up signing a couple of new left wing backs, and I know a lot of people would like to have seen him here. You picked him up, but I was looking through some of your games. He's been on the bench a fair bit. Has he been injured? But I know you've got Styles, haven't you? He's been playing left wing back. The Hungarian who played against England when they beat us 4-0. I say us. I have allegiances elsewhere, as some people will probably allude to. But I did watch the England-Hungary game, and he played. And is Cadden kind of going to get more opportunities if Styles moves on, or what's the plan?
I think it's more one of them that we'd signed Cadden in sort of replacement for Styles and sort of preemptively before Styles went, because I think Styles initially came to us as a central midfielder, and we tried to play him there last season, and he's so much more of a threat at left wing back. He just understands that role better, and he just gets more freedom and time on the ball. So it is probably the place which I've got the most depth and strength, to be honest. And Cadden, I think he started in Plymouth, and he's got a wonder of a left foot. The deliveries that he'll put into box were unbelievable, but the problem was there was just no one there just to get on the end of it. And I think once that's fixed, we'll be fine. But he pulled up, I think, against Cheltenham after half hour or so with a tight calf, and then since then we've not seen much of him. And I think the original calf's now all right, but now he's pulled the other calf, so it's been a bit of a worrying start, to be honest, in terms of like 2 niggly injuries which have kept him out of the side. But it's not been too bad given that we've got Styles there to replace him. But Cadden, from what we've seen of him, we can say exactly what we're going to get in terms of someone that has got a brilliant delivery. And I think the difference is between Cadden and Styles in a way is that Cadden delivers it much earlier than what Styles would do, where Styles would try and like play it down the wing a bit more. If he's on like an angle like 30, 40 yards deep, is Cadden, he'll still deliver it, which I think that brings a different element in terms of it sort of goes in that corridor there where the keeper can't come, but the defence is still a bit too high, and we've seen chances created from it so far, but I just think it's sort of that link up between the front two to actually be able to read that that's going to happen. And I think over time it's something which will come, but it looks like an exciting prospect, definitely.
So I could talk football with you all night, but I know you've got to get back to a hammering you're taking from Leeds. Your key man's Luke Thomas. Who's the man to watch? If it wasn't Thomas, who else would you be picking out of your lineup that Town fans should be keeping their eyes on?
Josh Benson, for sure. Thomas and Benson so far this season. Benson is again another one that struggled last season in and out the side. He was dug out a few times as well by the managers we had in last season. Poirash, Baggy and Marcus Shot both dug him out a bit in the press, and it definitely knocked his confidence. But this season, because I think Duff works with him, Burnley under 21s, so there's sort of that relationship already there. You can see that he's starting to get that confidence back, because we've not had someone to replace Mowat in that box-to-box midfielder that can sort of do everything. They can disrupt play, they can create, they can go into the channels if they need to. They know when to hold, and we've had that this season in terms. But in the Carabao Cup first round, we beat Middlesbrough. The goal in which Benson scored, he went and started it from inside his own half with a big 50-yard ball sprayed wide to Luke Thomas. Thomas drove at him, and then he got it on the on the cutback did Benson, shot saved, and he followed his shot in, which we've not had anyone follow and go beyond the strikers from a midfield row for a full season. And I think that sort of overload then in the centres is key. And I think he definitely showed that Middlesbrough game when he actually did score and he got beyond the strikers and went and tapped it in. So Josh Benson for sure, and that he's starting to become the all-round package that we thought he would be when we first signed him.
And a weakness. You've lost 3. What's your current Achilles heel?
I'd definitely say he's just an experienced side that knows how to win a game in this league. Because I think you can play all the nice style you want, but then when you come up against a Wickham, you've got a side there. They're going to be disruptive. They're going to be in your face. They're going to ruffle feathers, and that's exactly what we can't sort of deal with at the minute. Because there's definitely that hangover from last season still, which I think as soon as we conceded that first goal against Wickham, heads were down early doors, which it were a shame to see really that we'd had like the good result midweek against Middlesbrough, and then we had a good second half against Derby, beat Bristol Rovers. We're starting to find his feet a bit, and then it all sort of came crumbling down just against an experienced League One side that, again, Wickham, they don't play the nicest brand of football, but they know how to do well in this division, in that they're in your face, they're combative, and then in the 3 moments of quality which they showed in that game, scored 3 beautiful goals, to be honest. So I think it's more of a confidence thing, in that I think if Ipswich do get on top early doors, then it's going to be, especially if you score first, then it's going to be interesting to see how we react, because we've done against Derby, we conceded first, and then in second half we went and sort of worked his way back into the game, whereas against Wickham the same thing happened and just heads went down. So I think it's that hangover from last season that's definitely been our biggest weakness so far.
And last question before I let you go, before we do let you go, we need to share something that we wish to do as a football club in the game, and I sincerely wish we didn't have to do it. But your system, what kind of system are you playing at the moment?
So it's like that 5-3-2 stroke 3-5-2 formation, in the 2 wing backs, a central back 3, and then 3 in the middle and 2 up top, with a nice little sort of the midfield 3 sort of work dynamically, in terms of it's sort of the onus is on the midfield 3 to sort of decide who's sitting, who's going forward, which became as undoing at the early part of the season, in that we got the inexperienced players who'd not played together, and you get that disjointment then of you'd have all 3 bombing on, and then no one's back and the back 3 are exposed. And it's been nice to see as well with Liam Kitchen at left centre back. He's not had he's been all right. I'd say he's been all right, but he's also, I think from what you can see from what Duff's trying to do, is sort of that Chris Wilder, where he plays the same system, but he has that left and right centre back there to provide an overlap if needed. And Kitchen in the last couple of games has just gone on marauding runs, even like going past the left wing back on his own, which at times you think we've left a 2-on-2 at the back, but it sort of then gives you that extra option to try and retain possession. And even if we do lose it, we can try and then press and win it high back up the pitch. So it's sort of like it's the thing in it 3-5-2 at the minute, with a big counter press and high pressing. That's sort of what we've transitioned to from last season, where we played like a 4-3-1-2, which it didn't work, and it were much more of like a low block and trying to stay and sort of contain teams. Whereas this season we're a lot more proactive and trying to win the ball back up high, instead of trying to sort of create the perfect goal. We're trying to actually nick it early doors and see if we can turn teams around that way.
We've been there ourselves, this is not sadly our first season back down at this level. So everything you're saying is almost an echo of the last couple of years as a Town fan, and particularly one of the words I wrote down there, grit. You clearly just perhaps lack that little bit of grit, knowledge, know-how to see things through, to steady storms, to not think a goal down is, oh my God, here we go again. Great insight from you, Josh, and the people in the chat are absolutely loving having you here. And while I've got you here, I really wanted to share something with you that's come up on our timelines today, and hope that you can take back to your fan base to speak to them and to get them involved in something that is. I've been trying to think how I say this, and I can't put the words to the importance of what it is, if that makes a bright bit of sense. So I'm going to try and make the page a bit bigger and just let their words speak for themselves. On Saturday, Well, I'll read it all. Lillian Allen was born on the 25th of May, 2022. She sadly passed away peacefully during the night on the 7th of August, 2022, at only 10 weeks old. She unfortunately never got to the chance to watch Ipswich Town, but she did get, you never seen me cry, but you might see me cry here. She did get the chance to wear her Ipswich Town kit. These are the words that will appear in the Matchday programme. But in addition, the family were wondering if anyone attending the game on Saturday during the 10th minute would join in a round of applause for Lily. Bethany will be at the game. I believe that's her mum, but don't quote me. And it would mean the world to her. Please pass it on to as many people as you can and ask them to join in and show our condolences and love for Lily. Once a blue, always a blue. R.I.P. Lily. So on the 10th minute, we want to make noise. We want the biggest and best round of applause. And I really hope I will send that to you on WhatsApp, Josh, but if you could get that message back, it's something that no parent should ever go through.
Yeah, definitely. We'll definitely get that in around the fan base. I mean, we normally take part in these things. I think there's something at Blackpool similar. So we'll definitely make sure that as many Reds fans know about this as possible.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your time this evening, Josh.
Problem.
I really appreciate it. Look after yourself.
Cheers, Josh.
Look after yourself. Thank you, Josh. And I've got a daughter. She's called Lillian. It's spelled exactly the same way. I've got a wife expecting. I've got, obviously, Arthur, it's two. Lewis, you've got your own little kiddies. I can't put words into it other than my just strongest and sincerest condolences to the family. And honestly, it's, we need to make Portman Road as loud as it's ever been at that 10th minute. And if you're listening to this or watching this live or on catch up, please do just that. Do what you need to do on the 10th minute. Back to the football, as hard as that is and as insignificant as that is. A couple of things I picked out there from Josh. Thomas, key in that number 10 role. Just how vitally important is Sam Morsey and Lee Evans going to be come Saturday, Alex? They're going to be at the top of their game to stop their pivot man.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad that we've got some of the quality of a Morsey in there with an Evans beside him that knows, they know each other inside out. So they'll be organised. And I think what we've got to remember as well is that, McKenna and Pert will know who their danger men are, and we'll have them prepped as such. But it is a key battle in the centre of that midfield. I think I'm just glad to be playing them now because, as we've heard, they're a side in transition at the minute.
Yep.
I'm quite glad to be playing them relatively early on whilst they're still in that dreaded G word that I will not mention, rather than playing them in sort of 6 weeks' time when they have had more of an opportunity. But it's going to be a tough game Saturday. It will be.
Yeah, it certainly will be a tough game. And obviously you liked Thomas. Lewis, you picked him up, but also it goes a little bit deeper than Thomas. It's got Benson behind it, not Hedges, but just Benson. So is our 10 equally going to have to do a little bit of the dirty work on Saturday? Is a Connor Chaplin, is a Sonny Aluka, whoever may play that 10, they've got to be aware of Benson and what Josh was telling us, that the ability to spray a pass.
Yeah, but we've faced a variety of different challenges so far. We've come through them. We're fluid in the middle there as well, aren't we?
We are.
Morsey will drop, play box to box if needed, put pressure. Chaplin will drift around, Harness will get involved. So, I think if we're at it and if we can get that early goal, and I think with us, particularly at home, if we get that early goal as we proved against MK Dons, that means teams have to open up and come out, and that creates space as well. I think we'll have a lot of the ball again, which I think is going to stifle them. It's going to make it difficult. They're not going to be able to spray passes around if they haven't got the ball.
No.
So
exactly.
I very much feel that we are well set up to deal with any challenge. And I think we will find a way of overcoming that challenge. But it's absolutely, as with every game in League One, I think this season, without sounding arrogant, it's going to be about us. It's going to be about how we prepare. We are such a better team when we play at tempo. And I think if we can get Portman Road rocking, as you know, as you very eloquently put, you know, there's a lot going on at the game, and you know, I really commend you and the way you spoke about it, because I find it difficult to talk about now. But you know, we've got to play on that, and we've got to be buzzing straight from the off.
We absolutely have, and first goal. That's the key. The key to most games, Alex, but certainly the key to this game, because we've got a side here in Barnsley that aren't used to being in a commanding position after a year of relegation. As Josh was telling us, they're still haunted by the ghosts of their past. They need to stay in the game as long as they possibly can. We need that first goal so quick.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know that, you know, Josh was saying there about the first goal going in and the head dropping. We've been in that situation. We know exactly what that's like. But you know, we've got to play at tempo. You know, we've got to come out of the bottom, and we've got to put them to the sword. Quite frankly, is what we've got to do, and do it.
Yeah, great comment.
And do it quick. I do think there'll be a team that will come out and try and play. Very similar to the way that, you know, MK tried to play, and I think that plays to our strengths. You know, we play better when we have teams that come out and try to play us. But it's gonna be interesting, because you know they're gonna be wanting a response after, you know, last week, tonight.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, absolutely.
So, and I still think we've got to remember that we'll be seen as a scalp in this league for any team that come and play us. So, whatever the team, it's our responsibility to, you know, do what we need to do, put them to the sword, and not get sucked into playing. Too many times in the past we've been sucked into playing other teams' games at our detriment. We need to go out there and stamp our authority on the game and play the way that we play. Because if we do that, we'll beat any team in this league.
Absolutely perfect, and a fantastic way to round up what has been a really enjoyable midweek hump day show with the Rapstar Lewis Robertson and Lionel Von Rock, Alex Wilson. We are organising a little point after the game, so if anyone should fancy joining, do let us know. But I'll be having a tap war, point of tap war, obviously. But before I let you both depart, don't forget you can become a YouTube member or a fifth stander on Ko-Fi and become part of that dedicated ITFC 24/7 ping Discord server. I do my best to create threads and keep it all nice and neat so you can find the information you need to. Gov, get George to drape a Santa hat or other Christmas images over that top, add trousers and do a variety of sizes for a family, and you have Ipswich Christmas pajamas. It could be a win. It absolutely could be a win. I completely agree with you. I'm being told to do a ticket redraw. Well, I did do a ticket redraw while Josh was on. I'm just going to share you the screen. I don't know. Excuse me. I don't know who's won this. I don't know what number it is. It's number 14. So whoever number 14 was, they're winners. Because while Josh was talking, I thought, you know what? Instead of wasting valuable time doing another raffle, as we said, we hate raffles. I just thought I'd fucking press the button. And number 14 came up. We're back on Friday, 8:30 press conference reaction show. I'm not going to ask you both for your teams because, Lewis, you've gone unchanged, which I think many people will agree with you on. There's not many question marks to it. I mean, you've brought Wes Burns back in. You brought Wes Burns back in, but you know, where's Jesus Burns? If he's fit, people will have him in any side alive. It's a great side. I love it, and I also love the dedication to the new kit. Absolutely love that, which we didn't get to tonight, but we'll get that out on Friday. I'm absolutely no doubt about it.
Oh, and that's another thing, isn't it? Because it's Burgess out, Edmonton in, back in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good
Edmondson
spot.
struggled last Tuesday, but I think the break Saturday would have done him some good. Plus, we haven't played this midweek, so that's my thinking behind that. But yeah, well spotted, Alex, because I'd forgotten.
That is a great spot. Yeah, you got Edmondson back. Yeah, probably more suited to home football as well. To be fair, you know, we will talk about the third strip on Friday. I've got some interesting comments. If you're part of the Discord, you would have probably seen them already. But we didn't get to it. It's been that sort of a show where it's been so busy. It's been so jam-packed with content. I'm going to leave you with just asking you both, and probably the chat, one question. Not a score prediction. Does facing Barnsley on Saturday and James Norwood worry you, Alex?
No.
Lewis?
No, we're too professional, too well drilled. We'll be fine.
And with that, we'll see you Friday. Subscribe, like, Discord.
You make me smile when I think of you. If I get down low and I get blue, I can't get enough. You make me happy, I feel so fine. Oh, how I wish that you were mine. I can't get enough. I woke up all soaked in sweat, chills running down my neck. I'm going crazy from just the thought of you.